Aloha, everyone. Okay, so it's time for me to tell this story that happened to me earlier this year. And earlier this year, I suffered a really, I was experiencing very severe lower back pain. And it was to the degree, because I've seen so many patients, physical therapy patients over the year, that I know that many people in that kind of pain opt for surgery, like lumbar disc surgery or a disectomy or whatever it is the doctor tells them that they need. So one thing I wanted to mention before I even go into this is that we even learned this in physical therapy school, and it's also part of Dr. John Sarno's work, is that they've done studies in the past where they've done MRIs of a perfectly healthy spine, and then people are in significant lower back pain, and then switch that where they've done MRIs on 100 plus people, and they have facet joint arthritis, they have a disc bulge, they have osteophyte formation, whatever it is that MRI says, and those people are in zero back pain. So this is a study we learned in physical therapy school. They definitely taught it to us. It wasn't emphasized a whole lot, but it's something to think about, that whenever you go to the doctor and you get an MRI or an X-ray, whatever they tell you is on that MRI or X-ray, your mind is going to attach to that label of whatever the doctor gives you. So I would just be wary of that. So anyways, what happened with me is that I was in severe lower back pain, and it was seemingly from picking up a box incorrectly. And I went to a physical therapist here on the island to get someone objective to look at me. And what happened was, she basically told me the things that I knew about how to support my physical body with McKenzie exercises, which are like prone passive extension exercises. So I was doing that. I personally was going, diving into all of the emotional work around the root chakra, because the lower back is governed by the root chakra, and so I was diving into everything on an emotional level that is related to feeling safe in my body, feeling safe in the world, feeling secure, my relationship to all of those things. So I was diving into that stuff pretty significantly, where I was doing kind of somato-emotional release sessions on myself to get to the underlying whatever the unconscious repressed emotions that were there, that were showing up in my low back, causing me to feel unsafe. So I was doing all of that stuff, supporting my physical body with all of the physical therapy based stuff that I knew. And I came across, which I'd read his book before, Dr. John Sarno's Healing Back Pain book, The Mind-Body Connection. I'd read it before several years ago, but a friend, Chad Moretta, actually sent me his video. It's like a 2-hour video on him talking to 100 plus people in a crowd, and all of which had chronic back pain, neck pain, and it's like people that read his book or watch his videos, they'll start to get better because they start to switch their thinking. And so in the video, it's just so amazing. In the video, he basically explains his theory, which his syndrome, that he made up was called tension myositis syndrome. It's now been updated to be called, I think, tension myoneural syndrome. But all of that is a syndrome that means the mind and the body are connected. So he explains it so well, and it just really has resonated on such a deep level, because it's everything I've seen with working with people in physical pain and doing somato-emotional release sessions with them, releasing emotions from the body. But basically his theory is that every person's system has unconscious repressed emotions, right? And that every person's system has this innate benevolent protective mechanism in the brain that basically, whenever something starts to come up, he talks a lot about unconscious rage, but it can be, any unconscious repressed emotion. And that whenever that starts to come up, when you start to feel it, the brain has this benevolent protective mechanism in it that sends a message to, let's say, the weak link area in your body. So mine was my lower back, and creates a mild oxygen deprivation in that area, which doesn't sound like a big deal, mild oxygen deprivation, but if you know anything about cellular processes, oxygen is very, very important at a cellular level, and that's what causes the pain. So people in chronic pain are, the pain is real. Like, you can't, a lot of people, doctors will tell them, their pain isn't real, but the pain is actually very real in the physical body. It's just that the root cause of it is unconscious repressed emotions, and the brain and the system is redirecting the person's attention on a different area of the body so that they don't feel the unconscious rage or the unconscious whatever emotion it is. And it's just fascinating because Dr. John Sarno has literally worked with like thousands of people and has seen almost every single one of them get significantly better just by learning that their physical pain is from, an unconscious repressed emotion, is from, most of us feel okay by saying like, oh yeah, it's stress increases our pain. We know that, but, really, truly understanding and believing the fact that the physical pain is coming from this unconscious rage or anger or whatever it is that you're holding. And it's once I started to like really let that sink in, and it's not like I didn't know that, I knew that, but the thing about it to help you get rid of physical pain is that you actually have to believe it. And it's such a mental game, and because my doctorate's in physical therapy, you can imagine how much how much deconditioning basically I had to do in this brain that has been filled with Western science and everything physical therapy based that doesn't teach you any of that stuff. And so I was telling people around me, I was like, I feel like this is harder for me because I have all of these beliefs in my brain that all of these doctors told me was true, but actually they weren't true for me. And so I had to like go through this mental game of deconditioning all of these beliefs that I learned in physical therapy school, that if I had this sensation in my back, then it meant this, and if I had this sensation, then it meant I have to do this, or I couldn't do this, or I may have to get this surgery. And it just wasn't true for me, and it doesn't have to be true for you either. And our Western medical system is so set up for people to fail. It just completely takes people's power away because I'm going to get an MRI, I'm going to get an X-ray, and then the X-ray is going to tell me that I'm whatever, I have a mild disc bulge, and which is very common. Once you start to get a little bit older, it's very common to see facet joint arthritis and that sort of stuff. Dr. John Sarno even says it's just a part of the natural healing process, and rarely ever is, the disc pressing on the nerve and actually causing that pain down the leg or whatever it is you're having. So the key to healing your physical pain is understanding and like truly believing that you're truly believing and knowing, like on a cellular level and like in your brain, in your body, in your system, knowing that it's not, there's nothing structurally wrong with you. There's nothing structurally wrong with the body, and that it's from this unconscious repressed emotion, whatever it is in your life that you've been repressing, suppressing down. And that's one part. And then the other part is just catching the thoughts and your mind, and just realizing all of the negative thoughts that you might have that are constantly, say 100 times a day, telling you that there's something really wrong with you, and there's something wrong with your back. And so what I had to do, or your neck, or whatever it is. So what I had to do was like literally start to just catch every single thought, because I had just this negative downward spiral of thinking, around whenever I had pain in my lower back. It was terrible, and I would just send myself down this negative spiral of thinking. and my pain would get worse, and my tension would get worse, and my nervous system would get more agitated. And so the trick is that you have to be, it's like a mindfulness practice, and you have to be so good at catching all of the little negative thoughts that are telling your subconscious mind all day long that something's really wrong with you, and something's really structurally wrong with your spine. And so what I started doing was, every time I would catch myself like having a thought about the pain and that I was having in my lower back, and all the things I couldn't do, or whatever it was, I would just stop and I would say change, and then I would tell myself there's nothing structurally wrong with my spine. There's nothing structurally wrong with my spine. And I'd have to do it many, many, many times a day. And for 6 weeks, I was once an hour, for 15 minutes, I was on my belly, like doing McKenzie exercises. I was doing that stuff. I was doing the stuff to support the physical body and the things I know that will support the natural curve in my low back, which I know is just going to be good overall for posture and all that stuff. But and to get my lower back curve back, I was doing all that stuff. But it was not until I really started to watch my thoughts and change the way I was thinking and start to reprogram all these beliefs I had learned from physical therapy school that just weren't true. And so many doctors told me that they were true, but they just weren't true. And so if you're somebody that is, suffering from chronic pain, and you have been suffering from chronic pain, I really highly, encourage you to take your power back and know that, and this is a mantra you can use, my body is always working toward healing. My body is always working toward healing. And then anytime you have physical pain and you catch that negative thought, you say, there's nothing structurally wrong with my spine or my lower back or my neck or whatever it is that you're having. And it's only you can do it. Like, that's the thing about it, is that only you can do it. You're the only one that's with your body 24/7, right? And so you can't rely on anybody else to help you. But if you think about Western medicine, and they're just going to give you a label, your mind's going to attach to the label, and then you're going to just go into that negative spiral of thinking, oh my God, this is what's wrong with me. These are all the things I can't do. This is what I might have to do in the future. I'm going to have to modify my life like this, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, all this stuff. No, don't send yourself down the negative downward spiral. It's terrible, and I've been there, and I just really super encourage you to take your power back. And it's totally a practice of mindfulness and reprogramming your brain from all of the beliefs that our Western society and medical system teaches us to be true. Because I'm telling you that I've studied it. I've studied Western medicine and physical therapy, and so much of it's not true. So much of it's not true. And I believe in supporting the physical body. I do, because it's part of your whole system. But truly understanding the unconscious repressed emotions that you're holding, and then getting to the mental game of just catching all of those negative thoughts. And I'll have to do another video about what to do to get to those unconscious repressed emotions. That's one thing. But let me know if you have any questions about this, if this was helpful for you. I've been wanting to share this story for quite some time, and I've just had to process a lot of it myself. But I can say I'm 100% pain-free. My back is 100% now. It's amazing. It's like a world of a difference of where I was earlier this year, and that was the biggest piece that helped me. So I hope it helps you. I hope this information helps you, and let me know if you have any questions about it. Okay, aloha.